And now it's time for Who's Views with JT and the Whotastic panel.
Hello, Who viewers. It's us here at Who's Views. How are you? And welcome to the first in a semi-regular series that we've called Who's Views Recommends. This is all about something that catches our eye, which we want to recommend to you. Strange that, isn't it? It's amazing. As you can see, I'm here with Phil, Department Cute.
Hello.
Kirsty, the Akram Appreciation Society. You'll be finding exactly what that's all about. And the Time Lord Victorious himself, it's Emilio. Well, team. Well. This is a show that's taken me completely by surprise because I had no idea this thing was coming. And as with some gems, I found this completely by accident because I was there with my family one afternoon. And you know that bit where you're having something to eat and there's, teas and coffees and drinkies and stuff going around. And you just say, oh, let's watch something. And this came up on the old Netflix. And the only reason I put it on is because Matthew Good was on the card. And I like Matthew Good. And wow, what a find. What about you lot?
I only watched it because Netflix told me to. I mean, it was in the new things and it said that, everyone was watching it. So I was like, yeah, all right. How can a million people be wrong?
How can a million people be wrong? I'm sure it's a lot more than that now because it must be nearly a month since it was released.
Yeah, month, maybe 2 months, maybe. Yeah. I think it was early June, maybe, or late May. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think it was a month or so when I watched it.
Yeah. Well, listen, I should actually say at the start of the show as well, if you haven't seen this yet and you're contemplating it or our recommendation pushes you that way, I'm going to say right at the top of the show, we're going to try to be sensible and avoid anything that could be spoilerish. But it's very difficult to do that because it's the spoilers, I think, that actually contribute to making this such an epic series. And I'm going to start, guys, with the fact that right at the very beginning in episode 1, what a twist! Yes. What a twist! I was just sitting there, I was oh my God, there's a time differential loop in this. Wow. It was I thought it was brilliant the way they did that though.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't, it wasn't obvious that you really felt, okay, I'm trying to work out, what kind of going on because it basically cutting between basically different characters, different stories that are going on, and you're kind of thinking, your brain trying to go, okay, how is that potentially going to go with that, and then you don't realize until the end that actually part of it is very much set in the past, and that really kind of sets up the kind of focus for the remaining episodes. So I love it when TV does that. It kind of catches you off guard and it kind of turns the needle a little bit, but in a way that it felt earned. Sometimes TV tend to do that and it doesn't feel earned, but I felt the first episode did a good job of doing the setup so that when it did twist the needle, you were like, oh, okay, yeah, now I was already in, now I'm even more into this and I want to see what happens next.
Yeah, because as with all the other sort of detective-y things that are going on, and it is very much a detective series, I was busy thinking, right, how does that character end up meeting this character and where's this character going to come in, and then suddenly to realize towards the end of episode 1, oh, hang on a minute, there's a 3-year loop in this. Oh, yeah, very clever. I really enjoyed that. We are here to talk about Who Viewers Department Q, which is from Netflix at the moment. So congratulations then. They've had a huge hit with this. There are 9 episodes in this. It's produced by Left Bank Pictures with Flickcraft Sony Pictures Television for Netflix. It's based on Department Q by, I think it's Jussa Adler Olsen, which I didn't know. I didn't know these were books. And it was developed by Scott Frank and Chandni Lakhani. There we go. Any of you know it was books?
We found out about it because actually when we originally were going to do this show, I was not going to get the chance to watch it. because we'd been talking about it.
Yeah.
And then when it got announced we were doing a merchandise paradise instead, Mr. Lady of the Chat was like, well, now's your time to do your homework. So we started watching it, and then he just Googled and went down a rabbit hole. He was like, Christ, books, there's so much material as well. It's like 13 odd books. So we went down a bit of a rabbit hole about that. And there's some clips online of the actual Danish version of it, because they've done about 3 or 4 movies and maybe some shows as well. And it's all in Danish. And it's not from what we can see, it's not like a blow by blow of what we got. It's Scott Frank has taken the book and just adapted it to be Edinburgh. So there's the Scottish mechanisms of how it is, but that's just how it is pure Danish.
Yeah, I bet they didn't set theirs in Edinburgh though, eh, Kirst?
It's well suited to Scotland as a location, and it's lovely to see, you know, Scotland at the main location for a crime series. It just suited to it, you know. It's gritty. Got a lot of foul mouth language that goes on, but also when you go to the kind of island, one of the islands, right, in Scotland, I can't remember which one it is specifically, but the kind of remoteness, you know, kind of the barrenness of Scotland really added to the kind of atmosphere. So I think it's nice to see something that isn't just set in London, but also I think it worked very well with the story.
I think Denmark and Scotland are both bleak and cold, so you know, there's a nice synergy there.
There's certainly a lot of scenery in and around Edinburgh where a great big murder could take place. You know, they really could. And Emilio there, for those of us of a certain age, we have to remember Emilio is too young to know Taggart.
Shut the front door.
Yes, which went.
So we need to do a Who's Views reviews Taggart, starting at episode 1 for the next 15 years.
Yeah. For me, actually, Who Viewers, this is just, I mean, I watched this over 2 nights, 9 episodes, an hour long. If you're regular to this channel, you'll know I'm very picky on my television. Very, very picky. I think a lot of it is shite. But this got me to the point where I watched so many on one night and so many on the next, and was absolutely gutted when it finished. I thought, oh my God, there's got to be another series. And they've left it nicely open for that. They've set it all up with this, because there's still actually a mystery that hasn't been solved as well, isn't there, really?
Yeah,
so that's
and I think
nice.
Turkey said they got all of the books right. I think they're, you know, they would. I think it wouldn't surprise me. It's massive success. They definitely will come back again. I think Netflix will be mad not to. But you know, there could be loads. You know, there's a lot more stories to tell with the characters, and what I like is that, you know, there's still a lot more to learn about the characters even at the end of the first series. You know, there's enough meat there for you to chew on, and they're all very, very complex characters. There's a lot to them. There's a lot of stuff we don't still know about them. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what kind of happens next, what you learn about the character going forward.
Well, let's introduce to people that are still to find this show. Let's introduce the actors and the characters, because I remember actually downloading or saving this picture ages and ages ago, and then forgetting about it again, because I thought, oh, there's a new project from Matthew Good. And it was only when I watched it halfway through I thought, and this is ringing a bell. And it was actually I think it was Netflix themselves that put out, you know, publicity saying, here's the cast of our new series. And it was this that we've got here, actually. Look, yeah, see, cast announcement from Department Q. So we've got Matthew Good as Detective Chief Inspector Carl Mork. Mork. Yeah. Now, he's described as an emotionally scarred detective who becomes the head of cold case unit Department Q, which is quite funny. Chloe Pirrie as Merritt Lingard. Might not know the name, but you'll know some of these faces, I'm sure, everybody, who is a ruthless and ambitious prosecutor. There you go. Then we've got Alexei Manvalov as Akram Salim, who's a Syrian ex-policeman who Kirsty thinks is fabulous, forced to flee to Europe, who becomes part of the new department as a civilian employee. And by God, there's a secret there. We'll be talking about that with Kirsty in a second. Kelly MacDonald, and she's great. I love Kelly MacDonald. I've loved her since Gosford Park. She's wonderful. What a lovely, capable, strong actress she actually is in anything. She's playing Dr. Rachel Irving, a police therapist handling Mark's mandatory post-shooting sessions. She's hilarious in this as well. Lee Byrne as Detective Constable Rose Dixon, a young woman shaken by a breakdown and looking for a chance to prove herself in Mark's team. There was actually something of a running theme going on in this. Mark Bonner as Stephen Burns, the Lord Advocate and Merritt's former supervisor. Yeah, okay. You've got Jamie Sives, again a familiar face to Scottish television as well, if any of you are here in Scotland. He plays James Hardy, Mork's paraplegic former partner who provides remote support with Department Q's investigation. Shirley Henderson, she was in Doctor Who as well as Harry Potter, if you might remember. She was in the one with the big green blobby thing. The one yeah, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but she's in this. She's got a lovely character as well, hasn't she? She plays Claire Marsh, who's the housekeeper and attendant of William. William is not pictured in this one, but that's played by Tom Pulpit. And that's Merritt's disabled brother. He's another strong character. And then again, another familiar face to a lot of us will be Katie Dickey as, and I love the name, it's Moira, everybody, Moira Jacobson, which is fabulous. And she's Mork's commanding officer.
I really liked her. She was cool.
Yeah,
she was my favorite.
I'm glad that Katie Dickey was cast in this because I can't see anybody else quite playing that role the way she did because she's been around for such a long time and she's just cracking. She's a great actress, isn't she, Kirst?
Yeah. We have a department boat, and then there's the silence.
I love the way the character only says yes to this Department Q thing, which is a bit like X-Files in a way, isn't it? It's supposed to go through all these written off unsolved crimes and mysteries. And the only reason she says yes to it because of the budget. and then
she wants all the TVs, basically.
She starts to spend all this new department's budget on her existing department. And it's really quite funny because as she's selling this new department to Chief Inspector Karl Mark, in the background, there's televisions being moved in and computers being moved in and things being moved out. I love that. I love the humor in the show. I thought that was really funny. Very funny. Go on then, Kirst. So you've been waiting for a couple of weeks now to talk to us about Akram. Hit it.
I need a season 2 now, and I need a pre. They actually said at a press junket that they want a prequel, and it's just going to be called "I Am Akram."
I am Akram.
I just love how you think it is just going to be this mild, IT mannered. He's going to be in the office all the time, maybe behind the books and the papers. But it's when you first see a certain scene with a larynx or an esophagus. Yeah, and then you're like, And the question of back home, were you a good cop or were you a bad cop? And it depends on the day or the time in that conversation. He was one of the star of the shows for both of us. Flowers to the actor, Alexei, because he just brought him to life. And you can actually see possibly a lot of people like that of that descent that have got that backstory. Yeah. And he was just wrote not stereotypically or anything. He was just wrote beautifully and just captivated us. We want a season 2. We want a show of him, a prequel. Thank you very much. God bless.
I've never heard of this actor at all. And I don't know if you guys have, but I've never heard of him, never seen him in anything. He was totally new to me. And I think that's why the character actually becomes a little bit more believable. And when you suddenly realize, oh, hang on, because there's a couple of, well, actually, there's more than a couple of scenes where you start to get to know a little bit more about him, and you become a little bit sort of wary of him as well, because he's not frightened of anything. He's very tough, and he'll cross the line.
Yeah, you can see Rose's eyes when he goes to the big guy and goes like, "Your car's on fire." What do you mean? Sorry, your car's on fire. and things happen, and it escalates to try and prevent spoilers. But you can see Rose's eyes be like, "Oh, just be glad he's not got a badge right now." And Akram saying that, look, I'm not going to kill you. Just be glad I'm here and not Carl.
Yeah,
because he did.
Yeah. I think the relationship between Carl, and at this point as well, Carl doesn't know who this guy is, because this guy arrives in the most comic and bizarre way ever for any lead character. It's just weird, but it's beautifully done. He's just hanging around like a bad smell, isn't he, really? But yeah, he comes into it. But I think there's going to be a good foot, because Carl doesn't know who he is. He wants to know the full story. He knows there's something going on there. He sees him in action at one point as well and goes, oh, hello.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a great balance there between them, because you got the one, Carl, who generally doesn't care about anything. He's at that point now, isn't he, guys? He just doesn't care. And this one does, but his ethics are a little bit down here in the gutter.
It's when he has the conversation with the Lord Advocate at the end and goes, I kind of love the guy, but he's a decent copper.
Yeah. John wants to know, was Casey Dickey in Game of Thrones?
Yes, she was. She plays
Somebody naked.
The Aunt of Sansa Stark. She's the one with Little Robin, who if you remember that from Game of Thrones. I can't remember the name of, but yeah, Aunt Lysa. That's it. She played Aunt Lysa in Game of Thrones.
Oh, I see. Legion of James was saying, what was she from? Well, there you go. Emilio's just answered your question there, everybody. Something called Game of Thrones. Never heard of it myself. Frankie is saying to us here, look, Taggart was better in the 80s and early 90s when Glasgow looked like a dying city. Listen, Frankie, Taggart was better when Taggart was actually in it. They kept it going way after Mark McManus's death for about 300 years. Very, very strange thing to do. Legion of James also saying to us, quite a good cast. It's a brilliant cast. They're very strong. Really good movie quality cast as well, considering I hadn't seen half of them for a lot of them. I know Phil might disagree, so we'll come to him as well. Edward's saying some great actors in this. Yeah, he's waiting there. Look at him. Like one of those dinosaurs. Edward's saying to us, Casey Dickey is in the Switch game called Complex. It's very good. Oh, right. Okay. Frankie's saying to us, as long as Tennant never shows up in this series, it will last years. Ooh, how naughty, Frankie. Yeah. I have to, at this point as well, I found this particular one, because as we're saying, this is shot in and around Edinburgh. And I have to say congratulations to the filming crew, because Edinburgh looks, I mean, on a beautiful day, and some rainy days, Edinburgh is a beautiful city. It's absolutely good. But here it's enhanced. It really does shine, Edinburgh. It made me want to move there immediately. And then you look at the prices. But it's a case of like, oh, wow. I'm looking at this. I found this in the filming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you know, we have to keep an eye out for them. Yeah, because we need walk-on parts, I think, love, next time they're filming it, if they get for a series. We need to get up there. We need to go around just casually walking around, you know, casually. Oh, there's the film group. Casually walk past.
Use t-shirts.
But I love that film. It's one of you can see some of them. There's about 3 or 4. But this was my favorite one, actually, because we'll all know where this is. If you're from Edinburgh, you know what street this is. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. So well done to everybody for making Edinburgh look even better on film. I was really impressed. I don't know what it is with the costume. I mean, it just looked.
Yeah, they captured that Edinburgh, even on rainy days. It was the scene with Merritt and Lyle in Greyfriars Kirkyard. And they somehow, that's a very gothic-y, dark place, and they somehow just made that even more to the nines, beautifully shot with. They made Pissing Rain look fantastic.
Like an art.
And like when they're kicking around, going up to Bobby and whatnot, and when they're down by the castle where the police station is actually, it's an old tech place, or it's a teach place for tech,
right,
by the castle, and they made that beautiful as well. And when he's kicking down the West End of Edinburgh for the therapy, that's usually quite a bleak and boring and street. They lit it. They've made all the qualities of Edinburgh what we usually have. Just they've heightened it, and it's actually showing proper Edinburgh as well from it.
Yeah, I agree. It just looked amazing, absolutely amazing. That little bit as well with with Bobby, Greyfriars Bobby. There's this little statuette in Edinburgh of Greyfriars Bobby, which is a fabulous story about the wee dog and his master, and how he would hang around for years after his master had passed away. It's a great, lovely story. You may have heard the story. You may have seen the Disney movie back in the old days. But there's this statue. And the council at one point were trying to stop people touching it because the nose is wearing down, because thousands and thousands of people a week touch this little thing for luck, apparently. And I love that little scene where Akram does that, and Carl looks at him and like, really? You live here? It's just, oh, you're going to little doggy. All right, so we've had some good stuff so far. We've got lots more to come up. This one here is being very quiet, isn't he? Now, you do like this, didn't you, Phil? You did enjoy this.
I did.
Yeah.
But I did not like episode 1.
Tell us why then, Phil.
Well, actually, you made a good point earlier. You said that it's a bit like the X-Files. I know you made, so well done. In all these shows, you've made a good point. You said it was like the X-Files, and I think that's what I was expecting. So I was expecting some kind of, and I think that's what made me watch it, because I thought there was going to be something a little bit paranormally going on. It soon became very evident that there wasn't going to be. No. Because there was this deeply unpleasant policeman who got shot, and I was quite pleased, and then he recovered, and I was like, oh, damn.
Why did you stick to him?
No, I like him. He's all right.
Oh, right. Which one then?
I'm talking about, and I can't remember the names because it was a long time, so I've got them on here.
Oh,
it was Matthew Good's character.
Oh, the lead character, you mean?
Yes, I did not like him at all. And then it kept flashing back to this horrible woman who I later found out was Merritt. And then, he goes into the police station, and then you've got, and I don't know if it's because I've watched too much stuff on the BBC, but I was like, oh, look, there's a ginger woman and she's got ADHD and psychological problems and da-di-da-di-da. Oh, look at that. Oh, wait, here's a nice, kindly immigrant fellow who is a nice character in it. And I was a bit kind of rolling my eyes like, oh, here we go. And then, of course, Mark Bernard's in it. And I do not like that man at the best of times. I think because I'm from the generation that watched a lot of Phone Shop. He is the Sanny Bin man. He always will be the Sanny Bin man. And he can't be anything else.
He was in Doctor Who as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. The Rebel Flesh and the Almo People.
That's right. Yeah, that's the one, Emilio. Yeah, I knew it was the Matt Smith one. Yeah.
They made him John Koenig in Space 1999 at Big Finish as well. So that's something I'll never forgive him for.
Oh, did they? Don't know about that.
So there was this episode, and then there was all this bit that you quite liked, the cutting between the different scenes and stuff. I was finding that a bit, can we just learn what's happening in one place without something half happening, then jumping somewhere else, something half happening, and then jumping somewhere else?
Did you not appreciate the time jump, though, when that was revealed? And that all came together. I thought that was lovely drama. Even that little bit of music that comes in there, with the revelation for all us sci-fi geeks who get this quite quickly. You go, oh my God, that's the past.
And once that happened, that's the point. I think a part of me went, oh, okay, this is possibly going to be something I stick with. So I think like on evening 1, I probably watched the first episode. Evening 2, I got through, the next 2. And then it was 3. And then I think I finished it off in the following night. So I did actually get really into it. But that first episode, I don't know, maybe I was just in a bit of a mardy, but I didn't love it. It's like you're describing something different, because I did not enjoy it. I still didn't like an awful lot of the characters at the end. Oh, and then 2 young people with the ridiculous haircuts.
I've got pictures of them. Hang on, here
Loathed
they are.
them.
Look at these.
Them.
These were straight from 1988. These 2 here, working on the case, which we haven't talked to her. But there's a running theme in this actually, which is the case where our lead Carl and his partner have been shot which has resulted in a murder with a police constable being murdered in this. So this is the team that are looking into that. And as with everything at this point, Mark is not very happy with how they're doing, and he keeps interfering nicely. But these two were a bit.
And that super bigoted part of me that saw the ginger ADHD woman and rolled my eyes, went, "Oh, here we go. Here's the they/thems. There they are.
Yeah.
I was waiting for them."
Yeah,
but they
it's
weren't actually. They were just
show,
people with very questionable haircuts.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm jealous because my fringe doesn't go that far anymore. So
it's not stated in the show, by the way, any of this. There's no politics in this. It's not woke at
there's
all.
No.
Those two characters, I reckon, Phil, are there taking a bit of the pee, to be quite honest, to everything else that's doing it, because you could just imagine they would be on that bandwagon. I mean, look at them. Look at the dress sense as well as the hair. I mean, look at that. One of them thinks she's in DS9 for crying out loud. Yeah.
But luckily, there was none of that. And I think I assumed it. And then there wasn't any, and it was fine. And then this story kicked in, and there was the time thing, and I got it. And then I wanted to know what happened. And I wanted to know,
That's the brilliant thing, isn't it? Because like her or loathe her, and actually, Merritt Lingard, who is the what's the words in this? She's the main victim in this particular story. She's the main one here. She is written as being the person you don't like.
Yeah.
I mean, the first episode goes out of their way to set this up to being able to say she's quite arrogant. She's very manipulative. She tends to use the men around her because she knows they're weak and fickle to her own gratification in whichever department you want to look at that being. And she does come, halfway through, I'm thinking, when's she going to meet up with Carl, and how on earth is that going to work? Because she's just as unlikable as he is. And at this point, I'm thinking, I actually like him more. Do you know what I mean, guys?
Yeah. And I think it's a credit to her and the writing and the directing and everything that I didn't like her so much in that first episode.
Yeah.
Because it really is a powerful performance that made me intensely dislike the woman.
Very good.
And then like her at the end. And at the end, I was rooting for her.
Yeah. You do that, don't you? Because she becomes weakened, obviously. Because basically, spoiler alert, she's kidnapped.
Are we going to spoil it?
Yeah, well, I think so. Should we? Should we say?
I mean, you can't really. It's hard to have a review without saying it. Spoiler alert! Banner right now.
Yeah.
Okay, we won't. But there's a reason why her character by the end is broken, and she's totally different from what we see of her when she's working in the chambers and on various law courts, and even that case there, which we're not really following because we come into it halfway, don't we? We come to it actually towards the end, and she loses the case, and then that becomes part of the big story as well.
Yeah.
When the regular cast catch up with them, and you just think, what? And suddenly all these little details. I mean, it was very good writing, and if that's based on the book, wow,
a lot of threads connect. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It makes your time as a viewer feel like it's been well invested, because every detail really come together. But I also think I completely agree. I did not like her character one bit at the beginning, and she came across really cold and really just, like emotionally like distant, and just not somebody you would want to have a conversation with, let alone hang out with. But I think what really works is the fact that you're at the end you're rooting for somebody that you, as you say, you didn't like in the first place. But I think what made that happen is that we spent enough time with her in the kidnap.
In the situation.
In the situation that she's been kidnapped. You spend enough time seeing what her kind of day to day is, and and the fact that it's been a good couple of years that she's been in that place. And you just see like no human being should have to be put in that kind of situation. You end up becoming really sympathetic to her, and you're just edging the case to be solved just to get in time, because you know she hasn't got that much time left. So it's just,
there is definitely that feeling of the clock ticking in these episodes. I felt that. I mean that just adds to your the way that you're involved in this story, because you can feel the clock ticking, the time is going, and it's incredible really, because you're like, because everything else is going on for these characters, of course. It's their day-to-day life. And you're seeing the other element as the viewer. And all you're thinking is, would you just get a move on?
You're like, she's here, she's there. Go.
Exactly. And there's certain things that they do where you think, that's it. And then they move on to something else. You're like, oh my God. So good. So good. Honestly, you're on the edge of your seat sometimes with this thing. And it's one of those reasons you could binge watch this, but give yourself a day because you have to go to the next episode. And, it's like, I had to leave it overnight, as I said. And that night I was like, what's happening?
I think as well, some of the bits of her being horrible in the first episode, you kind of revisit later on, and then you realize there's a reason and stuff. So it's not just random bitchness. It's,
Although that is there. She is a bitch.
Oh, Christ, yeah. But it's not as harsh, I think. I think there's some context to it, and then you kind of understand a bit more, and it makes you feel a bit more sympathetic. So I think it's incredibly well written in that respect.
Absolutely. There's that lovely scene towards the end where you see her being a bitch, but then they add to it the episode or two later, don't they? Where she's with this guy, and then they add to it, and you suddenly realize, oh my God, she's lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because she's been so successful in building her career and her world. And a woman in a man's world as well, let's face it. And she's been so there. She's got this reputation. She's up there amongst the best now, but the sacrifices she's had to make. So yeah, Phil, you're right. I think you do become a little bit more, oh, I understand to an extent, but I'm not quite sure I still like you.
Oh gosh, yeah. We're still not going for a beer, all right, but I'm not going to bitch about you in meetings.
Yes,
but
yes.
Isn't it nice that the adults are back in the room? This is a show where, again, so many shows nowadays are trying to do all these convoluted sort of, we've got all these ties here and nothing's really tied up properly, and they think they're big and they're clever, but this was actually tied up really nicely, and there was no, Merit was a bitch, but she wasn't a girl boss, that she was able to handle that. And again, as Emilio says, no one should ever have to go through that. But again, it's nice to have writing that you're going like, you're a cow, but actually then a few episodes later, your heart is bleeding for her and you're with her, rooting for her to get out. And then there is that resolution at the end, and there's change, and you can see growth as a person, and especially as a female character nowadays, because it is just the queen, I can get out of this. It's just nice to have the adults back in the room.
Totally
completely agree, Kurt. It's it's just you're just so fed up of getting one-dimensional characters. I had the same initial reaction that you had, Phil. I was like, oh no, here comes the woke. I was like, oh, this person going to be like this, and this person's a Syrian refugee. They're going to just be holier than thou. And I think what just just puts a smile on your face is that you're actually showing characters as human beings, positive, flawed, multi-layered, not because you're this skin color or you're this gender, you have to be just one type of character. I think the fact that they are multi-layered keeps you invested, because ultimately, that what we relate to is put in a mirror to us as an audience member. We're not just one thing. We got good and bad part to all of us. So I really love it when TV shows do that. And as you say, Curtis, we've been starved of that. So when these kind of shows come along, you're like completely shocked and surprised. And I think that's exactly what I felt watching it.
Yeah. If this had been produced this way, and then the BBC or ITV would have picked it up, it would have been a massive hit for them that they're both clambering for.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it took Netflix to pick this up and commission it and go with this. Because the other channels are all too busy with the DEI clipboard. And that's just not relevant in this at all. Because as you say, Kirsty, the adults are back in the room, and basically they're just telling a damn good, entertaining story over 9 hours. It was brilliant. Dark Hall is saying no woke drama, brilliant. Yep. And Duncan Evans is saying to us, it's sounding a bit like something along the lines of the original Taggart or Cracker. Yeah, I would say the feeling.
Not far off.
It's not, is it, Phil? Especially Cracker. I'd say the feeling is the tone is similar. But I would say as well, it's very much done with a twist of today, where if those things are carried on, they would possibly have to be where that is to survive. because it's got that element also where, obviously, because it's on Netflix as well as everywhere else, it's got to compete with the Danish dramas, which are all gritty, aren't they? You know, all of this sort of spooky and stuff like that, and go further than British television would. This is on the way, but it's very engaging. There you go, Duncan. Yeah,
Well, I'm tempted to read the book.
The younger, so there's a particularly young character in this, which you get to know a little bit more toward the end. But I have to give my hats off to the actor who played that particular young character. Sublime. I thought it was great acting, and maybe someone to watch out for the future. But
who's this? Which character?
Let's say the ultimate villain of the.
Right.
Of the piece, but when you get a flashback to when they are younger and they're being kind of interviewed, let's say that, I just thought the actor did a great, convincing job of portraying somebody, a child that, for not going to say on here, but for particular family reasons, is effed up basically.
Yeah.
And you can just see how, let's say, far removed they are from kind of an ordinary person's way of thinking and viewing the world. And I think that young actor did an amazing job of portraying it.
Yeah, his name is Kai Alexander, who plays the younger version of it. There are obviously the two people playing Lyle Jennings in this. So you've got Kai Alexander, and Stephen Miller plays the adult version, but it's Kai you're talking about there, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are we going to say, Kirst?
No, I wasn't saying anything. I was just agreeing with Emilio.
It is a really stunning performance. It's very I'm going to use the word scary.
Yes.
This young man can just do that. He puts the chills in you, and part of me was very angry at the character. Just think you are an absolute, utter mental lunatic, because he is
Monster.
But the way he performs this is incredibly subtle, and that's why it works, I think. You know,
slightly sympathetic though as well. A slightly sympathetic character. I mean, obviously, once you find out which, well, I say slightly.
There's more about you, Amelia, I think.
When you understand why he is, like what he would put through as a child, in terms of how, it helped inform why that particular person is the way that they are. I'm not saying we excuse any of this terrible behavior that he's done, but I like the fact that it's not just a psychopath for the sake of being a psychopath, right? There's a real, you get an insight. You don't get the full story, you get an insight into the upbringing that person's had, which inform you as the audience member to potentially why they are the way that they are, which you kind of sympathize with the, I'm going to say, children as a whole in the situation. Like what their parent did to them was like unexcusable parenting, basically.
Hello, everybody watching Whose Views. This is Recommends. We're talking about Department Q, which is a drama which is available right now for you in 9 parts on Netflix. It's something that we actually do really recommend, because the 4 of us, well, the 3 of, all of us, we were gripped by this thing, and we're chatting in our chat about it for quite a while after this. But it's just amazing. It's all set in Edinburgh, and great cast. Congratulations to all them. But as Kirsty said, this is television with adults in the room who have written and produced something which is just entertainment, nothing more. And I think that comes through by everybody just having a great time putting this thing together. You know, it must be a great relief when you get a script like this, which is just a damn good script.
Matthew has said that in various press junkets that him and Scott Frank had worked together on previous projects. And Matthew goes, well, there's certain scripts that come through the door and you go, but when he's like something from Scott Frank, he's like, I can relax. And that I think as well, because it's how much of a high standard and high quality that we got, is that he interviewed Matthew separately, but then the 3 of them, Leah and Alexei, who played Rose, and Akram, and they've said, like, he's a taskmaster. You have to come on set knowing your script inside out, upside down, around. There is no ifs or buts. You got to know it you do have fun, you do have a laugh, but he runs a tight ship, and it'll be like a couple of takes, and then we're done.
Wow.
And you've got to be doing it.
So he's fast as well. Wow.
Yeah. So Matthew was like, I can relax with this because I know he knows what he's doing, and I feel safe with a script that he's on the ball. There's no piss farting around. It's done. So that's why, as well, that Scott has adapted this to such a high quality, because he sounds like an absolute a positive taskmaster that's going to get the job.
Yeah.
And
well, it's obvious as well that they spent money on this thing, and they have to get it right, don't they? Because unlike certain productions we could mention on this channel, when you're spending millions of pounds or dollars of somebody's money, you want to actually show that on screen. You want to use that investment, whether it be in your directing or your sets or your cast, whatever it's going to be. You want to show it. This, I would say, for whatever budget they got, well, every penny screams quality on this.
Yeah. I think the casting is ultimately what, for me, the ensemble of the trio, I think, is what does it. And that is obviously down to great casting, and also the actors having good natural chemistry as well. And I think behind that, I think you've got lightning in a bottle. And I think that's ultimately those three characters, especially when they're in a room together, just the kind of banter, the taking the piss out of each other, just the attitude that they have toward one another, also the hidden friendship, but there's a care for each other that they probably wouldn't. A lot of them wouldn't wouldn't openly admit it to each other, basically, and you see that just behind everything that you're seeing in front of you, you can see that they actually like each other, really, even though they.
Well, by the end of the series, you do get that feeling, don't you?
Yeah,
you do get that, and I think that's going to be good to build on for any future adaptations of books in next series, because you see that relationship between the three of them. Yeah, it's a magic actually when you watch it, because I love the fact as well that these three characters we saw in that shot, I'll put it there, they're stuck in the basement.
Yeah.
The old washrooms or shower block, isn't it?
Yeah, the toilet. Yeah.
Part of it reminded me of the old Cagney and Lacey, where they would always go into the female bathroom to have the conversations, you know what I mean, with the dirty walls and the sinks and all that, and the New York police. Part of this is in there. And I thought, this is great. They've got old showers and toilets in there. That's where they're put. But that must have brought the characters together as well as they start to sort it out. But it is magical what happens between the three of them. And I think it's going to be fun to see when it comes to casting, because it is a lightning in a bottle series, this. The casting is brilliant. But the cast is going to change. There's going to be new. This is what happens with these shows, isn't it? There'll be new members coming in. When you've had a huge almighty hit like this one has been, that could be quite daunting for actors coming in on the back of this, because you've got your regulars, and then you've got your guests coming in. So they've got to maintain these high quality scripts, haven't they? And get the casting just as quality.
Yeah, but I guess there's a lot of Scottish actors to choose from. Sorry, Kath.
Yeah, I was going to say they've only picked a couple from Still Game. They've got a whole.
Yeah, let's just don't go down too much of the camp route. Actually,
yeah. If you've not watched it, there's a Scottish comedy program called Still Game. It is on Netflix, and Carl's roommate and the constable or whatever who's doing the budget at the beginning. They're two that I've just found hilarious being in serious characters, because how mental they are in Still Game. So they've got. If you've watched Still Game, I'm placing my bets that Isa is going to be in it. And I did think at one point, with the wig and just the lips, I was like, Christ, they've hired her as well. I did think it was the actress who played
This is Jane. This is Jane you're talking about, isn't it? I'm seeing her in the next few weeks. I'll ask her. I'll say, are you going into Department Q too? I'll get a scoop. I'll get her on the show if she is. Well, tell us about your character. No, bro. Listen, I do want to talk about the character as well here, because I'm a huge Matthew Good fan. As far as I'm concerned, to viewers, as you may have heard me say before, Matthew Good is the Doctor Who we never got. and now never will, because he's massive. He's huge. He's always working. He's always in demands, and that's why he doesn't appear in the Downton Abbey films because he's never there. He's always busy. But what a character, and the way that he creates this character and develops this character. I mean, Matthew Good for me. This is what I call talent. This is old school acting talent for me. Because he can perform any character and he can create something from the page and really deliver. And, you know, having seen a lot of his characters before, this is totally different for him as well, because he's brought this really quite unlikable arse, let's face it, to life. He's got all this stuff going on at home with his adopted son, his ex-missus, who I don't think he was even married to her. Maybe he was, I don't know. His flatmate, he get on my nerves every day as well.
Who's great. I love the flatmate.
He is brilliant.
I've never seen Still Game, but I do love the
great.
flatmate.
But everything's done as a foil to him. So with his flatmate, for example, who Carl can't be seen to like. And this poor fella knows that and tolerates him because they're friends. Well, as far as he's concerned, they're friends, they're buddies. But Carl would never admit that, would he? Because he's just an inconvenient human being in his way. Everybody's inconvenient, but everyone's a foil to him. And I just think it's magical how Matthew Good brings all this together, and he's just going through life like this, going, oh, these people in my way on this planet. Oh my God. It's so refreshing.
Yeah. He does such a great job, though, I think, of when you get introduced to the other copper that obviously got injured in the shooting, who's in the hospital. I don't know, like, immediately as an audience member, exactly. I know he's also in Game of Thrones as well. I'm sure there'll be lots of other ones from Game of Thrones. But immediately you get a sense of, and he does it so well, of, okay, this might be the one person in the world that he actually doesn't mind and is actually friends with, and he does it just so brilliantly. So you just immediately get a snippet of, okay, he doesn't hate literally everybody. There is actually somebody that he doesn't mind, but he does remind me a little bit of kind of like a Malcolm Tucker, maybe a little bit less rude.
Are you sure? There's a lot of the effing going on in this, isn't there?
Well, I would, just as a thought for the next season, I thought wouldn't it be great to get Peter Capaldi in to play a similar kind of character who's actually even more ruder than he is, and he's actually introduced him and gone, wait, that guy is worse than me. That would be hilarious. I think get Peter Capaldi to play that character next season. That'd be brilliant.
That would be fisticuffs worth watching, because we've got to remember as well that Carl, he's a hard man.
He's hard, isn't he?
He really is. I mean, the way he went after that fella, there's a scene in this, spoiler alert, there's a scene in this where there's a really nasty piece of filth in this. He just comes in the story and then disappears in a stretcher, because what happens is he actually goes after and scares Carl's adopted son. That's a horrible scene. It's played and
very uncomfortable.
Super. Yes. I was sitting there thinking, oh my God. And I was thinking, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then the script is so good. Carl walks in on it. And then, all hell's going to break loose. And by God, and the way that Matthew plays it, he's just so shoulders back, so calm, looking around him, and then woof. Oh, I was just like, he's going to kill him. He's going to kill him. And I think he would have done if it hadn't been for the son.
Yeah. His adopted son plays it really well in terms of how you could see, because the kid, his adopted son, just for context, is basically like one of the gamers who just puts his headphones in and just
he's a pain in the ass teenager.
Exactly.
He's an average teenager.
Doesn't care about anything, not scared by anything. But when you get put in that scene, you just see that mark completely slips, and he is really shitting it.
He's a kid, isn't he?
And when Matthew Good character Detective Moore go for it, you're like, oh fucking you go, mate. But I think Kirsty kind of touched on it earlier. I think what worked really well is you've got kind of a contrast between him and Akram, because Akram is controlled anger. Yes. He is uncontrolled anger, and they obviously make a point in the series and make a joke of it that he can't control it. And obviously it explores his character a little bit more that he somehow gonna grew up in front of the TV cameras and get angry and lose his head. They really build that up, and the contrast between the two characters and how they deal with their aggression, I think, is really, really interesting.
You're pointing out another brilliant thing, that there is so much thrown at this guy. I mean, he gets shot, he almost dies. That's the other reason he's very close, I think, to James Hardy, his partner in the police force there, because the two of them even share near death together. They both escape from it. Because I love that when you're meeting up with James in hospital, he's very silent, and the way he's looking at him, as if to say, "Get out! I don't like you." But there's that bond between them, and he knows that he's got he's got to be around for him just as much as he's got to be around for. There's something there, that magic, and by the end of it, of course, you see what it is. It's complete and utter understanding. You might not agree where Carl's coming from, but he gets it, and vice versa.
You can see the bond and the friendship at the end when James is on the phone, and it's very Scottish the way he's like, "You bastard, you bastard." Yeah, with that wicked scene. If we're going to drop things at the end, with how much I loved Akram as well when he goes gun, and he just gets the knife and goes boom. Again, controlled anger that he knew. More Akram, please. For that shared experience that James thinks he's about to go through this again. And this time that Carl's going to be dead. That was a fantastic scene as well.
Yeah. And there's a scene when after the accident where I think it kind of implied that Detective Mort think that his friend is obviously like lost the will to live because he feel you kind of get told that he kind of like paralyzed, or you assume that he paralyzed as a result of it. You find out obviously that he can get better from it, but that he thinks that he might have tried to try and take his own life. If that's not a big spoiler, it's not really, but the fact that he gets worried about him,
it's heartbreaking, that is, isn't it?
But you see with his character that crap, he really don't care about his friend. Like, he would generally worry that he would go into do it, and also the kind of the way that he got brought into it was almost a way of him going, "Look, I'm keeping you occupied, I'm keeping you motivated. You get back up on the horse." Exactly. Yeah.
What do you think's the case that what's the name? Oh, I've forgotten the name already. What's the name? Moira. Of course it is. What's the case do you think Moira gives them at the end? Because I personally think it's their shooting.
Yes, that's what we think as well.
Right. Yeah. That's obviously going to be a common thread in the second one. There's bound to be a massive twist to that. That's going to be a massive. They walked in on something there, something bigger going on. This is going to be like Blofeld in Bond, I reckon, where eventually it's revealed to be Blofeld. I think there's something very similar going on. This is going to be a big storyline in series 2. And please, Netflix. Apparently, the rumor is you've commissioned a series 2. Can you let Kirsty and myself know when you're going to be in Edinburgh? Because we might just be out for coffee that day. You never know.
I'll get the train up. So, give me 48 hours so I can get a cheaper ticket.
Just for a wee walk on Cameo.
Yeah.
We'll be very professional. But no, it's just a great character. And he even gets, and this is what surprised me, a love interest. And it shows that he's not the nasty, vile, sort of rude, arrogant div you think he is at the beginning. And I love the way the script and Matthew is playing these little elements that come out through these 9 episodes where I don't know about you guys, but I really liked him by the end. I want to see him again.
The scene when Kelly MacDonald's waiting for the coffee date and he sits down and he's like, "I've had a dream," and she's like, "Please tell me I'm not in it."
She's so good with him though, isn't she? Both the character and the actor, the two of them really pair brilliantly, and the two characters come across. That when she's gone, the sense of loss that he realizes and doesn't understand why, and we as the audience are going, "Would you wake up, you nonce? We know why you've missed her. Wake up to it, admit it. And it's one of these will you or won't you? And it's not resolved at the end as well, which is lovely, but it is picked up beautifully to be able to say she could be in the second series as well, which I hope so. I hope so. But it's just all these little things, isn't it? You know, the way she acts with him, as you said there, Kirsty, she's got his number straight away, and yet she can't help herself, can she? Bit of a charmer.
Perfect example of how a productive therapy session should go, basically.
And we'll leave it at that.
Goes to Carl. Tell Carl, Judy bye.
Judy bye. Because she's not having any of it. As a psychiatrist goes, or psychological assistant, or whatever you call them now, she's probably one of the better ones in the field because she doesn't go down all the usual nonsense. She'll sit there. She'll talk the language of the person in front of him. So with this guy, she gets his number very quickly. She's almost sussed him out before he walks in the room.
Yeah.
And she puts it down to things like arrogance and grumpiness and the fact he's just been shot through the head. She's read the file conveniently. She knows his back history. And she's quite happy just to sit there and go on then. And then when he walks out, fine, I'll send you the bill. You're paying for the full hour.
But she gets there and she gets, she sorts it out.
She's brilliant because she's so rooted down to earth. She gives him what she needs, which is basically an equal. Although I have to say his ex doesn't seem to be stupid, does she?
No.
She got his number very quickly as well, but just decided I can't deal with this. You know, he's a very complex character who views. He's brilliant, and I'm sure there's a lot more to come. But I think he actually does like being the one that everybody doesn't like. You know, he's not frightened of that, is he?
Yeah. What I like is that early on you kind of you get a sense of his vulnerability in that he keeps squeezing the gritty ball, basically the trap ball, basically. It becomes almost like a comfort for him. So there's that he's not dealt with the trauma of the shooting, and you do see that in the story. But there's obviously a lot of personal, emotional stuff that he you can tell he's a character, a person that just bottles all of that in, basically. Yeah. And so I like the fact you get that kind of more kind of vulnerable side, kind of it's not overdone. It's done in snippets, and it's done in a really, really tasteful way.
Do you know what I also like about the writing of this character? This is a man.
Yeah.
He's not going to cry, is he? There's no way this fella's crying. You know, he's as you said, there's struggles with him allowing his emotion to come through, but he's so complex. There's so many reasons for that. But this is a proper bloke. He can look after himself. He's been there. The way he sits with those villains, he's above them. They're frightened of him. That scene where he goes to the golf house and these two big baddies who may crop up again. I think they're not going anywhere. I loved the way Matthew Good played that as well. With this character, is so confident and just looks down at them quite rightly, as though he's just trodden them and lets them know. And
because they know he's dangerous.
Yes, because
they know that he doesn't care, and he probably would beat them to death.
Yes,
yes, yeah, and that's what's brilliant.
Yeah, because he got an apology as well, didn't he, from the big bad for sending the fella after his kid? You know, so I love that. This guy would be known on the fictional criminal circuit here as you don't mess with him.
Yeah.
Because he goes
across the border to England, do your crimes there.
Brilliant.
I loved it. Sorry, when he went after, is it Sally Wallace, the actress? She was in Doctor Who and Tooth and Claw.
Shirley Henderson.
Is that her? Sorry, yeah, it's the one who played she's like the head of the hospital where William.
Oh yeah. She, the blonde-haired woman who she's the legal guardian of William.
Yeah, the legal guardian. Yeah.
I didn't know she was in Doctor Who. We don't remember her.
Yes. She's in Tooth and Claw. She played the wife of the Gothic guy who let the bald head monk guys in, basically.
Crappy
long ago, who viewers can't remember. Anyway, go on.
I love
Under-
the way he just like morally go for her about her, you know, her mischievous behavior. No crap given. Tells her how it is, and I just love he just get right to the point of a kind of hypocrisy. You're just like, bravo, my friend.
Yeah. And she knows the game's up with him as well. Everyone else has passed her by because she's all, oh, hi. Oh, look at me doing all the best things I can. I'm so virtuous. I'm on my knees all the time. And he just comes in and says, get up, bitch. It's just brilliant. The other one I like as well is because he gets the Lord Advocate, played by Mark Bonner, Stephen Burns, exactly where he wants him for at least another series. Because this fella, well, let's say Carl finds something on this guy, and again, same with what Phil's saying and stuff like this, he's got no morals at all, blackmails him with this information and keeps it for himself for a rainy day. But it's a great scene because even the Lord Advocate knows the gig's up. He sold it with, I understand why you did it, but you're a little bit naughty, but I won't tell anybody if you give me money for my department and let me do this, and I want a car.
But what's
do you
great
like?
is, sorry.
What do you drive?
Yeah, I'll have one of them. He should have said a mini metro.
But the fact that like Bernard's been like lording it over him, and I'm this and I'm that and I'm the other, and rah, you won't. And then at the end, it's like, and he gets his own back. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I hope you can tell everybody that we have really, really enjoyed this series. I want to give a quick shout out as
Apart
well
from episode 1.
to Shirley Henderson, another very versatile, capable actor. She's been around now for some time. She's also got this lovely ability to have the audience second guess. You're not sure where she fits into this particular story, and Shirley's good at playing those sort of things. I think she's done this many times before, and she'll either turn out to be bad, or she'll turn out to be good, or she'll just turn out to be indifferent. You just don't know, and that was the case in this one because you just didn't know. And I don't think we should reveal that particular one either, but Shirley is brilliant in the part, and I just took to Shirley's role in this. I thought she's done a cracking job here.
And I think the brother's very good as well. We haven't really touched on him, the one that she looks after.
Yeah,
A potentially difficult character, which I'm going to say the P word, problematic character potentially, but actually very sympathetic and I think very well portrayed. I think,
and also when you think about it, the key to unraveling the mystery, the story, because nobody bothered because of the way the character is. It's played by Tom Bulpett as William Lingard. He's disabled, and there is a sort of ability there to say that nobody listened to him because of this. Nobody bothered because of this, and yet he was the key to the whole thing. Yeah. Again, amazing little twist that come out around this character, and there was suddenly he's listening to Carl and his team, and they're treating him in a human way, and he likes them, so he gives them what they need to know.
And his frustration as well, like you're frustrated for him. It's like he can't say what he wants to, but also people aren't treating him
as an adult,
a grown up, and it's doubly frustrating.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful moment when he comes down in the helicopter.
Yeah,
and it goes just to music, and there's no proper voice, and you can feel in his world.
Yes,
because he doesn't really show expression, but it's just that look between him and Carl going like thank you and the acceptance.
Yeah, beautiful.
I was like, my job's done.
Yeah It was good. The other moment that got me on that as well was the without trying to give anything away, was that moment where just superb, absolutely. If you haven't seen this on Netflix, viewers, we recommend it. We really, really do. It's a cracking series. It's called Department Q. It's 9 episodes. They're an hour each, so give yourself some time to watch it. I would personally say It's well worth investing. This is the best TV I've seen this year. I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that.
Can I just say that picture justifies why I thought it was a ghost thing? Because 100%, if you said there's vampires in that, you'd be like, yeah, fair dues. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a definite recommend from us, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
8 out of 9 from me.
Oh yeah. And I absolutely hope that we get a second series. Really do, and I'm looking forward to it already. It probably won't be for another couple of years because of the way they produce television now, and because it is a big shoot, I would imagine. But fingers crossed, everybody.
That was they filmed that in 2023, and that might have. I don't know because they're filming in the UK, so I don't know if it was like, you know, how they went on strike in America, so I don't know if that affected them in the UK. So
it would depend on how long the scripts take as well, don't they?
Yeah. Well, they have the second book, right? Which will be, you know, they have a book there to go off, so that kind of helped, doesn't it, in terms of getting the scripts kind of ready. Obviously, it need to be readapted. Maybe you're probably thinking maybe like 2027 would be probably when we would get the next one. Likely 2028.
Take a year to flesh it out, a year to film, post-production, pre-production, everything like that, possibly. But hopefully soon. Hopefully very soon. Listen, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. To Phil, to Kirsty, and to Emilio, thank you for coming on to this. And look, it's been a joy. I've been waiting to talk about Department Q with people for weeks. So it's absolutely brilliant. We do recommend it. It's on Netflix right now for you. Go and watch it. Enjoy the turns, the twists, the characters, and where the story takes you. Get some ice cream in. From all of us, until the next day on Who's Views, don't forget to subscribe. If you've already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you're still subscribed. If you're brand new to us, please subscribe. We're starting to do all sorts of stuff here, although the main thing, of course, is Doctor Who. Give this show a thumbs up for us as well. And why not recommend us as well? Go and recommend a friend. Until we see you again soon. Ta-ra, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we go.